Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're pretty lucky that we're joined today by Duarte Carreira from EDIA. And Duarte, maybe you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company.
Okay, so my name is Duarte Carreira, as you said. I'm Director of Data Analysis and Visualization at EDIA, which is a state-owned company operating in South Portugal, in Europe. And our main goal is to produce hydropower and distribute water for farmers, irrigation water use. So that's it, really.
Yeah. Well, so I know you've been using Appsmith a bit. We've had some really good conversations about it, but if we kind of take a step back, what was the primary business problem that you're trying to solve that led you to Appsmith in the first place?
Well, I think it's a very common story. We are a small team, two developers in the team, and we've been developing internal apps for a few years now. And what happens is eventually, as your portfolio grows, you start to put more hours into maintenance and have trouble developing new apps or new functionality. So you start having difficulty in that balance. You get to be slower and slower when people ask you new stuff because you have to maintain the old stuff. So yeah, that's when we started looking for solutions to be faster and have less maintenance hours involved. So, we have some legacy apps, but we can live with that. It's no big deal. What we really need to do is to answer new requirements, new business requirements. That's what we really need to do, and sometimes it can't wait. So we needed something to help us out in that regard.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think that is a very common story, right? Like small team, no one has enough resources, no one has enough time. So how do you move faster? How do you be more efficient? And as you point out, it's not necessarily just about the tech debt of the legacy apps. Like if they're working, that's great. But just general maintenance, keeping the lights on takes time and energy, and there's never an end to the request, right? Everybody wants something or needs something, right? So I'm sure you did your research. We don't have to talk about all of the potential tools that you went across, but you chose Appsmith. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what it was that that kind of stood out for you with Appsmith.
Well, we self-host most of our stuff. So being able to self-host was a big thing for us. We have some databases, internal databases. We don't like having that data flowing in and out of the company, and we feel that it gives us a low latency and feedback. Also, security of the data. I know this is everybody that works with cloud nowadays, but we still prefer in-house solutions. Then being open source and allowing to have no limits in the usage was very, very important. And also something that we usually doesn't occur to people is there's no trial period. So we even tried the solution, but we only had 30 days to conclude if it fitted our pace or not. So not having a trial period is great. You do it on your own pace, and then you conclude if it fits you or it doesn't. So that's also something that was very important for us, to be able to study and see if it worked for us or not.
Great. And how have you seen your usage of Appsmith grow? I mean, you obviously, as you said, you kind of looked at it for a while, you tried some things out, but it sounds like from we've talked, you're finding more and more use cases. How has that kind of grown?
Well, it was very organic. So we started studying it, and to start with, we just had some SQL tables around we needed to uh, read or filter or edit or update. So we started with simple things,
Sure.
and server-side paging, server-side filtering, stuff like that. We are a huge SQL users, so that fitted really well. And then we moved on gradually to more complex and complete stuff. Like we migrated the legacy app, which we use internally for our ticketing system. So we migrated that and had our 6 users in our department working with the app, see how stable it was, if people liked it, how they responded to that, and everything went well. So we started going after some other apps that we needed to do. And so finally, we are at a stage where we are on a bigger project using Appsmith.
Got it. So kind of like starting small, figuring out how things work, looking for those quick wins, and then gradually adding more advanced features and looking for opportunities to deliver on the promise of what your team's trying to do for the organization. That's fantastic. So you guys looked around a lot. You chose Appsmith. You've been using it for a while now, kind of growing in your usage. What are some of the things, like just generally as a technical platform, what are some of the things that you guys like about Appsmith that makes it such a good fit for you?
Well, at the start, installing, setting it up is very easy and fast. You just then forget about it. It just works. And one of the main thing for us, since we are used to building things from scratch, is that it's very developer friendly. It doesn't try too much to hide code from you. So it doesn't add abstraction layers. So you have the UI, the SQL, and the JavaScript. That's it. So we are used to that. So it's very easy to get into coming from where we come from. So with a developer's background. So another thing that also convinced us were actually 2 things. One was when we started, we were missing some functionality in Appsmith, but the development cycle was so fast that nowadays, I think maybe there's one little thing maybe that we are still waiting for. You guys have it on your roadmap. And also the community. We were blown away by the community support, very nice people, very fast to respond, many tips for us to improve our work. And it was also, you guys have an awesome YouTube channel. So
yeah,
that helped us gain confidence, because when you choose a new product, you also have to feel comfortable risking going forward with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people discount the importance of community. Definitely something I'm a big believer in. We've just launched the portal as part of Hacktoberfest. We're looking for community template contributions so people can share more of that great work, and we're just going to continue to grow there. But so we've talked a little bit about the platform being developer centric, being really quick and easy to get set up, get started working on. Do you have any examples, like any practical or anecdotal examples of how Appsmith has helped your team go faster?
Not anecdotal, really, but pretty serious. We had a huge regulatory change, and the administrators were feeling insecure about how would that affect our customers. So in 1 week we did a simulator with 2 sliders and then an input box and a calculating button, so we could see which clients were affected if you change some baseline factors. So that was I can tell you that was a huge win for us. Yeah.
So you
That
just
really
like
brought Appsmith to the front. Yeah.
Wow.
In 1 week, we had people discussing the impacts of that change. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good to hear.
Yeah.
So you obviously you guys have been pretty successful there. So if there are other new Appsmith customers or people who are considering getting started using Appsmith, I'm wondering, with your expertise, do you have any advice you could offer to those folks so that they can get some of the great benefits that you've seen?
Well, I wouldn't call us experts, but okay, thanks. Um, well, you know, just what I said earlier, build your confidence first
Mhm.
and then pursue your internal clients as you gain confidence. Practice makes perfect. So as you work with the platform, you learn the best ways of going about it.
Mhm.
One thing we learned is being developers, we have this tendency to write lots of code. So
Mhm.
with Appsmith, we feel that we have to reduce the code to a minimum. Use the platform capabilities and write the less code possible because that's where you're going to have maintenance and refactoring needs. So reduce code to a bare minimum. And at this point, if things keep going well, I think they will, we are considering standardizing everything in Appsmith. And that will also make it easier to hire contractors
Mhm.
to build or improve existing apps. And being standardized in one single platform will allow us to better and easier take control of things we contract outside.
Awesome.
So I think that's it, really.
So it sounds like get the practice, right? Use the tool, start small, build your confidence, deliver on the business wins, right? Make your team the hero. And I love that your advice is to the platform is so developer focused and it gives you so much capability to write custom code that you actually have to resist the urge to write everything in custom code. I think that's actually really wise.
Yeah,
Really.
that's something that came out that we noticed very recently because we are migrating a SharePoint app to
Mm.
Appsmith, and so we have the two developers working at the same time with that. And when we when we meet and discuss the work that we already did, we came to that conclusion. So reduce
Yeah.
the code. That's what we learned. Yeah.
That's good. Well, it's better to be too easy to do custom code than have that block you for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, Duarte, really appreciate you taking the time. I think that's about all we have for now. Thank you for sharing your experience with other people. I do think it'll be helpful. We're all trying to solve the very similar problems. We all have very similar challenges. So I think it's useful for people to hear from you and know that. So thanks again.
Yeah, glad to help.